Hello, everyone. It is December 17th. I'm Ashford. Along with me is Diane. Hello, Diane.
Hello, Ashford.
And this is the Right On Network countdown to 2021, where all of your 2020 problems will magically go away. So, on Twitter, I'm assuming this is Twitter, the handle is Addison_HL222, 3 twos. Addison asks, how would you feel if DC combined the best elements of Helena Wayne and Helena Bertinelli to create a singular version of Huntress to exist in the main continuity or Earth Prime or Prime Earth? I myself don't know if I like that or not.
You know, it's actually funny that he asked that question because we've literally already seen this happen twice. You know, post-crisis, DC created a whole new origin for the Huntress as Helena Bertinelli, but at the same time, Joey Cavalieri kept calling back to the original Helena Wayne Huntress. And the earlier version of Helena Bertinelli does in fact have, a similar personality to the pre-crisis Helena Wayne. She's got that same motivation and drive as Helena Wayne. The only thing that's profoundly different from Helena Wayne is that Helena Bertinelli in the Joey Cavalieri version, in the original Joey Cavalieri take, is a less confident person than Helena Wayne ever was. But a lot of the core ideas are still there, And then, of course, when Joey Cavalieri was no longer writing Helena Bertinelli, when Chuck Dixon especially got a hold of her, that's when we started seeing the Helena Bertinelli character that more people are familiar with. So I guess she was given the Frank Miller treatment, where she just basically became a more violent, more quote-unquote broken version of herself. And then it took, later writers like Greg Rucka and Gail Simone to smoothen those edges and, actually present her as a more layered character. And it was actually Gail Simone, in my opinion, who wrote Helena Bertinelli very similarly to Helena Wayne, to the pre-crisis Helena Wayne Huntress in her Birds of Prey run, because her Helena Bertinelli is not just the dark, brooding heroine. She's socially awkward, which is something that's unique to Helena Bertinelli in the post-crisis continuity. But she's also snarky. She's also, she's also the type who jokes, and that's always been a Helena Wayne trait. And then, of course, we've got the post-Flashpoint continuity, where, interestingly enough, DC retconned the post-crisis Helena Bertinelli as having been Helena Wayne the whole time. And so we saw Helena Wayne, since she was reintroduced by Paul Levitz, her actual co-creator, we saw Helena Wayne's personality, pre-crisis personality, reinstated, but now she was a more edgier version of Helena Wayne. She was now a huntress who actually kills not her victims, actually kills, dangerous criminals, and that was always a Helena Bertinelli trait. It wasn't until the character was, reintroduced it wasn't until the character was being written in the World's Finest book where she started behaving more like the Helena Wayne we know. She wasn't as trigger happy or as eager to kill like she was in the 2011 Huntress miniseries. But all I've got to say is, having experienced both Helena Bertinelli in the post-crisis continuity and Helena Wayne in the post-Flashpoint continuity, I think by trying to merge concepts, it actually shows why these two characters work better as separate characters than as the same character. In my opinion, for example, Helena Bertinelli being socially awkward, not necessarily being the smiling type, that actually works in favor of Helena Bertinelli given her background, because, she grew up in a crime family and there's, at least 2 or 3 decades worth of trauma there, assuming that Helena Bertinelli's in her early 30s at least. So this is a character who experienced trauma from a very young age. Even if you go with the Joey Cavalieri take, it was established very early on in her history that she was sexually assaulted, as a 6-year-old girl. And the Greg Rucka origin retconned the childhood rape and had her, lose her parents when she was 8 years old. So with Helena Bertinelli, it makes sense for her to be socially awkward, very withdrawn, doesn't get along with people, doesn't really trust people, very much. I think that works for her character, but it does not work for Helena Wayne. Similarly, it's understandable, given Helena Bertinelli's background, that she would be a bit more willing to kill, crime bosses, because these are people who very systematically cause damage to other people, but it doesn't make sense for Helena Wayne to do the same thing, because as a daughter of Batman and Catwoman, they taught her better, you see. Now, Helena Wayne being the Huntress that actually jokes around and actually, is very snarky, and is very outgoing. She gets along with everyone. That works for Helena Wayne because, again, her upbringing, supports that development, But having her kill, a dangerous crime boss or even a dangerous politician, that just doesn't really speak Helena Wayne to me. So, yeah, I think that between post-Crisis and post-Flashpoint, DC did try to merge, the two concepts of Helena Wayne and Helena Bertinelli into one character, but it just showed why those two concepts don't really work, especially given the decidedly different backgrounds of these characters. And, for example, having Helena Bertinelli, for example, say to Catwoman, "You're kind of like a mother to me," why would she say that? And that was in Huntress Year 1, that story by Ivory Madison. So, yeah, some ideas don't really make sense for Helena Bertinelli, but make perfect sense for Helena Wayne. And some ideas don't work for Helena Wayne, but work perfectly for Helena Bertinelli. Another idea from Gail Simone's Birds of Prey run that works well for Helena Wayne, but doesn't work quite as well with Helena Bertinelli is the idea of, pairing the Huntress up with Catman, especially considering that Catman has a very similar modus operandi, to Catwoman. And in fact, he was actually inspired by Catwoman to become Catman. So if a Huntress is going to be paired off with Catman, and if you're going to explore that idea, Helena Wayne would be the Huntress that idea would make more sense with, because, she would be the character more directly affected by it. And of course, lots of room for jokes there, especially from Power Girl, So, yeah, I totally agree with Addison. I don't think that the concept really works, of merging Helena Wayne traits and Helena Bertinelli traits into one character, because it just shows why these two characters work as separate characters and not as one character.